Hi everybody, this is the Master in Software Libre from Rey Juan Carlos University at Madrid, Spain, and I'm going to talk about the roles and organization in the free Libre open source software project, Drupal.
Drupal is a free as in freedom content management system based on a GNU GPL free license. It allows you to organize, manage, publish, and customize web-oriented content. Drupal was originally developed by Dries Bouchard back in 1999 while he was attending college at Antwerpen University in Belgium. About Dries Bouchard, we could say that he was the maintainer of the Linux WLAN project at the moment. And the motivation was that there didn't exist means to discuss or share simple things on current web applications, sort of a message board. Bouchard settled for drop.org after he made a typo to see if the name dorp.org was still available. Dorp is the Dutch word for village, which was considered a fitting name for a small community. Then, the name Drupal derives from the English pronunciation of the Dutch word Drupal, which means drop. Drupal was released, and a couple of years later, he founded his own company, Acquia, around Drupal services as a product specialist. Nowadays, Drupal is maintained by a community of about 630,000 users and developers. To get an idea of how much is Drupal disseminated, the United Nations, the World Bank, and the European Space Agency use this project. Drupal project encouraged a set of principles to its development, which could be categorized in modularity and extensibility, as it aims to provide a slim, powerful core that can be extended through modules, standards based, considering emerging technologies like XHTML and CSS, also JavaScript or jQuery and like so, quality coding, as low resource demand and based on performance. For example, minimizing database queries to the content. Open source, which emphasizes on the collaboration. Easy of use, as it intends usability for developers, administrators, as well as for users. Let's take a look at the Drupal community. In words of Dries Bouchard, Drupal is more than software. It is a project and a community. So fostering the Drupal community is actually more important than just managing the code base. He says that the community and not so much the software is what makes the Drupal project what it is. The community gets organized through Drupal.org website, providing a place for groups to line up, meet, or work on projects based on interests, for instance, geographic locations. There are events and meetups, IRC channels, what they call a planet, which is a way to collaborate to the Drupal.org website directly, the community spotlight, so they promote or incentivize community participants to keep collaborating. Also, there is a professional commercial support, web forums, mailing lists, and the Drupal Association, which is a non-profit group to raise funds. Among the Drupal main roles, we can mention contributors or volunteers that are responsible for developing of the source code, documentation of different areas of the project, marketing of the product, user support on application issues, testing of the tool, translation for internationalization of the project, and a wide range of abilities and interests as new roles are proposed by the community. As we can see, there is some disarray in this regard, but either way, the community keeps solid and the project certainly evolves. In order to participate in the source code developing of the project, Drupal established a priority between the initiatives provided by the community, separating them in high priority tasks and the rest of the tasks. The high priority issues correspond to anything regarding the security and quality of the project, and the rest is divided into task skills couples. For instance, one of the tasks could be the translation of the user interface text on certain language, and the skills required for a candidate to participate in these tasks make emphasis on the fluency in English and non-English languages specifically. Another example is a task called front-end web developer, in which the candidate should have experience in programming languages like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, as well as cross-browser device or platform testing. We could find specific tasks and skills requirements for core developers or marketing resources, and so on. When talking about the main policies and internal organization of Drupal, we have to mention that there is a sort of a flat hierarchy in which each of the areas work independent and in parallel, with Buytard as the benevolent dictator for final decisions on the project. It is important to clarify that there is a slight difference between the internal organization of the project regarding the Go developing and the Drupal association, since the core development team with commit access is conformed by a closed but big enough group of developers, and the Drupal association is formed by specific staff members. So we have that Drupal consists on a heterogeneous and flat organization, as the community is composed by thousands of people with no control over individuals. Somehow a bazaar of cathedrals, or depending of how you see it, a cathedral of bazaars maybe. The main project leader is Dries Buytard. Then there are specific leader maintainers for every released version, with the mission to solve deadlock issues. They call themselves slackers, since they delegate the resolution of the problems to the community, making minimum efforts. Drupal core real task force, apart from slackers previously described, is grouped under Drupal contributors team. It's a huge group of people, more than 12,000 in 2011, which contribute to Drupal groups sporadically or in a more regular way. Inside the contributors group, there is a very flat organization, which is very light hierarchy system. The only organization recognized is described under maintainers list, which is indeed a text file in a project, similar to other open source projects such as Linux, where some responsibles are defined to handle different activities such as branch maintaining, component maintaining, topic coordinators, model maintainers, and theme maintainers. Well, Drupal Association is a non-profit community building association dedicated to help the Drupal project with funding, infrastructure, education, licensing, promotion, and distribution. There is a board of directors selected by election with important technical skills over the project. There are committees for different areas such as infrastructure, events, governance, and so on, with the premise of do not control the core nor the contributions. The association staff is supported by memberships, partners, sponsorships, donations, and volunteers. The main website, Drupal.org, is the project that gives the face to the world, showing the product as is. It is mixed and mingled, but at least is documented. There are many different roles defined, such as sysadmins, issue tracking, downloads, groups, documentation, Git, quality assurance, continuous integration, security, Drupal kind of websites, and many more. Regarding interactions inside the community, no special differences appear on Drupal compared to other ones. Drupal defines no procedures in terms of interaction where everybody can speak to everybody, always based on the common sense. If a change is proposed on a very particular model, contacting Dries Buytaert is not necessary, as sending a patch to the main maintainer of the model should be enough. Core office hours are proposed in Drupal to enforce mentorship from experienced developers and maintainers. Regarding changes proposals, they are welcome from everybody. The idea can be proposed by different channels such as IRC, Twitter, groups.drupal.org, Drupal Planet. Normally, a patch should be proposed in order to take the idea for consideration in a show me the code basis. In the end, the action occurs basically on the issue tracker for both changes proposed as well as for those issues that must be resolved. The normal issue tracker flow is the normal one. A user posts a bug on the issue queue, a programmer implements a fix and sets the bug to needs review, and a tester tests the fix and sets the bug to fixed or to needs improvement. Here we show a graph on how Drupal understands the organization of the community from the inside. It is a very good example on how Drupal implements the onion model and recognizes it on the organization. From the graph, some conclusions can be observed. About leadership, there is a core leader and benevolent dictator, Dries Buytaert. Apart from him, a 4-core committers group exists, based on the release branching maintenance. Main collaborators were 900 on 2011, holding a version control system account with commit privileges. Occasional contributors on 2011 were, for example, 1,800 unique people who contributed with at least one patch, 9,000 unique people who contributed by filling at least one issue in the issue tracker. Drupal.org visitors are around 700,000 a month. Drupal users are around 2 million people in terms of website administration based on the Drupal content management system. Regarding social interaction, the reference conference is the DrupalCon, which happens since 2005 and is normally celebrated twice yearly, one in Europe and the other in the United States. For the first one celebrated at Belgium in 2005, around 70 people attended it. In comparison, for 2011, 3,000 people assisted. And by 2013, there was around 2,000 participants with paid tickets. It gives an idea on how the community has been growing up lately. Among the main goals and activities of this project, we could find the following: grow and strengthen the community, accelerate the project, promote Drupal marketing platform, generate revenue for community programs. The success of these goals could be measured in terms of common and corporate officer attendees, students in training, speakers inside and outside Drupal community, and after hours events at the community building. Of course, in revenues, in order to community reinvestment. In 2013 at Portland DrupalCon, for instance, the ticket revenue was more than $1 million, and the net profit rounded the $900,000. Some other social interaction in the project are the user groups meetups, Drupal camps, and the code sprints. As some conclusions about this presentation, we could say that Drupal is a great example to demonstrate that the open development model is able to produce cutting-edge competitive platforms. Contributors have a stronger voice in the project and a greater influence on the future of Drupal. It is not about sponsorships. In the end, there is a benevolent dictator of the project, Dries Buytaert. There is a flat organization, somehow a cathedral of bazaars. It is a growing community in which exists close social interaction. DrupalCon, it's a reference conference worldwide, and we have to admit it's successful and profitable. We are open for questions, and here are some references we consulted. Thank you so much for your attention.